Welcome back, my brothers and sisters and lovers. This is Rebels United, Chapter 13. We have been away for almost a month this time, so just because so much is happening, we thought let's just put together an episode. There is no harm. So I want to welcome back my good friend Bhavin and Joseph to this crazy Monday.
What's up, guys?
All right, it's a good day.
Well, yeah, or I don't know, since it rained for you guys over there yesterday, it's raining like crazy over here today.
Huh. It's raining in Phoenix.
But
Raining is better than snow.
oh,
I was
in the
shooting. I was shooting in Flagstaff last weekend in the snow.
night.
Yeah, that's nice. Actually, snow's nice. The sleet is the worst because we had sleet
Oh,
last Tuesday. Things shut down. Then we had sleet again last Friday. Things shut down again. so,
uh,
So how is it different? Like, what's the difference between?
oh, the difference is okay. So when it rains, right, it's only water, nothing to worry about. When it snows, it's only snow. It doesn't melt. So it's like either powder or sticky, nothing to worry about. But when it's sleet, is right between when it goes snowing and then like cold rain. What happens is sleet is when the in the atmosphere, water goes through like cold becomes snow, and then maybe if it goes through a warm temperature becomes water. But when a cold water hits the ground, it ices right away. Like that drop of water
Mhm.
becomes ice. So then you would have a icy situation. So sleet is actually the worst because all the roads will become icy, and that's when you basically can go car skiing. I would say, your car
Oh,
will ski.
I thought you meant bumper skiing, where you grab onto the bumper and just.
No, no, I mean like your car, like you can actually, how they
Yeah,
drag race and stuff. Yeah, you can do
right,
similar because your car's not gonna have a traction on the ground. So
right.
basically, yeah, you can do whatever, and you have like you're going in one direction, and your car can go in a whole different direction. Like it's not in your control.
Have you ever bumper skied?
No, I have not done that, but that sounds fun.
When I was a teenager, we
yeah,
used to do that.
the good old days where you can get away with stuff like that. Nowadays,
Yeah.
oh, I get a ticket. What happened to America? I swear, this
Oh
was
man.
supposed to be the fun country.
Oh man, last week so far has been fun, right? I mean, the entertainment back. I can't say how happy I am because, like that. So just speaking of the political stuff, right? Last week they had that Iowa caucus, right, where
Right.
Trump just basically won like crazy, and then obviously smart people start dropping out. So Vivek is smart to say, okay, you know what? I know this is not the right time, and he has a lot of time to go, so he can always become president later. But he said, you know what? I'm gonna just drop out, let Trump do things. And today or yesterday, I think it was yesterday that in the other one, DeSantis now dropped off, and obviously Nikki Haley got sold. I mean, she sold out her soul. So that's. But
Right.
anyways, be fun because now we can see that things are moving the way it's supposed to move.
Well, are they? Because I don't know if you saw today, the judge in the case against Trump, where he was supposed to appear today, canceled the hearing today and moved it to tomorrow. And the news is making it look like, oh, somebody on Trump's attorney's staff got sick, and that's why they had to move it to tomorrow, where Trump is supposed to be in New Hampshire, right?
Right. Yeah, makes sense.
Election interference at the highest level, and Trump
Yep.
cannot do anything about it.
Yeah, but I think Trump doesn't need to do anything about it, right? I mean, like for example, look at the Iowa caucus, right? He didn't even do any. He
Yeah,
didn't
I know.
spend a single dollar, and obviously he killed them by 51%. And I think DeSantis was the one who spent the most in Iowa. I heard over $100 million or whatever, and he was the third or the last one.
Yeah.
This all is gonna help him, not stop him. And also, a lot of Democrats are switching to Republicans so that they can vote tomorrow for Nikki Haley.
Yeah, that is correct. Actually, right now I was just watching the news just a half hour ago, about, and yeah, they're saying like obviously the Democrat Party don't want Joe, and they're basically running around trying to find a candidate. And on the Republican side, everybody's usually going towards Trump, but they're saying both of those parties are less than 50% because more than 50% of the voters are basically declaring themselves as independent. And so, of course, that's going to be something to watch for because they can be picked up by anybody, right? Picked up by any new Democrat candidate, um, or they could split between Haley and Trump and whoever stays at that time. I'm sure Haley's gonna be dropping out. If it's not dropping out, she's gonna be gone or canceled within 3-4 months. But I don't think she's gonna go anywhere. But she might, because it's now one-on-one. She might stay there right until like they have to, RNC has to get the primary, like one candidate out of the both. So
I heard Nikki say something about she referred to the presidency as a coronation. I thought that was interesting.
I think she's clueless. I think it was it last Tuesday, the Iowa caucus, Monday or Tuesday, right?
Yeah.
When Trump won, and then of course Trump gave his speech, and then maybe half hour later, Vivek gave his speech saying, "Okay, I'm dropping out." And then I think Nikki Haley gave her speech after that, the same night. I think it was Monday night, but she said one or two sentences. I'm like, oh wow, this lady just sold out. Like the sentences were
Wow.
so freaking weird. She's like, oh, let's not, I want to form a Republican Party or want to be the president where we don't want to fight with the Democrats anymore. Let's make them work for. I'm like, are you stupid? Like, I mean, I was like, are you stupid? Like for 30, 40 years, that hasn't happened. Like, what are you talking about? Like, make work with them. So
This
that's
is
like a sentence where I was like, okay, well, she just sold out. Somebody paid her big money to like basically say, I am the slap dog, come slap me, and then we'll just give it over to the Democrat. Like that's what it sounded like exactly.
Wow.
and
Crazy.
the crazy part is both Kamala Harris and Nikki Haley are supposedly half Indians, and they're
Yeah.
making me hate my own. Like I'm becoming a self-hating Indian.
Yeah, exactly. You are 100% right. Like Indians obviously were sometimes where we go, right? People say, not just Indians, but they say, oh, Asians, you guys are like smart or whatever. And I'm looking at these two, two ladies. I'm like, good. Well, I mean, Kamala, I don't even consider her Indian because she never said she was Indian, right? She was always like, oh, I'm black, I need your vote. So I
Right.
consider like she's only black, right? She's not Indian at all. Like I don't consider her in India at all. But you're right, they're disgracing. Basically, they're making us hate ourselves.
They missed the smart gene.
Yeah.
No, but what is up with this? Like, why are Indians so easy to sell out? Why
Hmm.
they also think from Rishi Sunak in UK to
Yeah.
freaking in America, they're all becoming like just puppets. And I'm like,
Yeah.
it's disgraceful to be coming from such a great civilization and acting like stupid.
I think, like if you look at black people, right? For example, in black people, you have those, we call them leechers or lazy people or criminals or whatever, right? There's a lot of those. And of course, there's a lot of other black people who are basically, they go to college, they get a degree, and they're successful and they actually make, good money and good living, right? Just like anybody else, any other
Right.
professional. So I think in Indians, we have the same thing. Like, we're going to have the dumb ones, corrupted ones, which is what we're seeing in politics because the smart ones like us, we don't go to politics. And I think that's what I think that's what's
Hmm.
happening here.
No,
Interesting.
only
Yeah,
left,
it's funny how people think that politics is dirty, so you shouldn't get into it. But all that does is leave politics to the dirty people.
right,
Yeah.
It's kind
exactly.
of sad.
And it's really annoying to me because like I was back in time, I was a never Trump guy. I still I understand what Joe is saying, and I'm starting to see what he has been telling us from the beginning, that he's a changed man and he's probably going to be the greatest president in a long time. But I initially didn't like Trump. I didn't like his presidency last time. But all these people are just making me love. I'm like, I'm trying not to like the guy, but he seems so much better than everybody by like such a huge stretch. And again, my Democrat friends are gonna be like, "Oh, you want a rapist in office, or you want somebody who has so many
Well,
cases."
that's what we have.
Yeah, exactly what I said. Like, you have a cokehead, a freaking pedophile in office right now. Everybody's surrounding him. It's like, if let's say if Trump is, although I don't think it, I think it's a politically motivated, again, another attempt to bring him down. But even if if he is, he's better than these whole
Yeah,
far.
but next time someone says you want a rapist in the office, you say, "Well, rapist is better than a terrorist," or something. You say something like that, where it's like, just say like, "Hey, at least the master is better than the dog." The dog's running the show right now, and you can't even say like they're doing a doggy style. Like basically, Obama's up on the Biden's ass right now.
Oh gosh.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, uh, it's like, what are my options? Like, if not Trump, who are we gonna vote for? Definitely nobody wants another Biden presidency. Look
Right.
at
You're right.
Trump Trump
Democrats
is
don't want
the
that
only
either.
one that kept his promises. You got tons of politicians for decades who
But
promise and promise but never deliver. Trump is the only one that delivered on his promises.
correct. And here's the thing, Kalki. So sometimes when these people make stupid points, whichever Democrats you're talking to, like few things you can point them out. Like whatever they said about Trump, right? Initially, back in 2015, 2014, 15, and 16, whatever, right?
Yep.
Yeah, sure. That time he wasn't a politician. But now if you look at him, right? Like, I mean, I saw the change. Like back in from his second year, right? He was more professional than just saying anything out. Like, and now if you look at him, he is like, I mean, he mastered politics within
Yeah.
6 years. Like,
Yeah.
he acts more professional than people who've been in politics their entire life. Like, if you look at him right now, he looks completely professional.
Yep.
yeah. Now he looks like a president. And the best thing, which I love, is when he goes next to a kid, they're not flinching. They're running away from him, like what they do with Biden
Yeah,
or his son.
That's true.
He
kids can tell the energy, right? So, like, kids don't go where they feel like bad energy. So you're right. Every time you see Trump with the kid, the kid doesn't run away. Every time you see Biden, Biden or Obama with the kid, they're like, shit, save me.
Yep. They're cringing.
Yeah.
and Trump on another thing is he is actually respecting the law compared to everybody else. They just
Right.
we are
Um,
about the law.
And
correct.
that's something where the right and left has been at odds for a long time, is that the left will do whatever they want regardless of the law, whereas the Republicans have always used the system. Now I can't say that every Republican has forever, um, but that's been a contrast in the right and left for as long as I can remember. And that's what Trump is doing. He's using the system. He's not going outside the law to win his case.
Right.
Whereas you can see that the left is doing as much as they possibly can without any regard for the law to destroy him.
And I just don't know how long it will take for these people to wake up. Maybe they will never wake up. A lot like Trump is the most loved candidate right now. Even I think it's a tie between Robert Kennedy Jr. because he's polling better in certain groups and Trump is polling better in other groups.
Right?
But a lot of people are even actually switching, not because they like Republican Party, but because they like Trump now, and
Yeah.
they are not going there for the party, they're going for the candidate, which we haven't seen forever.
I think a
Right.
lot of people are switching because they're getting their ass kicked by the inflation and, not having a job. I think that's what, because think about it,
Oh,
right? They they still hate Trump, but they know that on the Republican side, you're only going to get Trump. You're not going to get Nikki Haley. They already knew that you're not going to have DeSantis or even Ramaswamy, right? But basically, they knew that Trump's going to come back only as a Republican, and there's no other choice. And now they realize that Biden is a fuck up, and not because they want to realize. See, these people who are when people are so stubborn and so I guess stubborn, right? Stubborn to a point where they'll kill themselves before they be honest to themselves, right? Like they're not gonna be
Oh
honest.
gosh.
I fucked up. They're gonna say, "I'm gonna kill myself," like kind of like a terrorist. So some of the people who are not that crazy, they're now saying, "I don't have a choice. Biden screwed my life over." I mean, that's the guy I voted for, whatever the case may be. That's my party, whatever. But he's the one who basically made my life living hell. So now I have to change. And they're being honest to themselves. But there
Yeah.
are people who are still not honest to themselves, and they're still saying, "Oh no, I'm gonna vote for Democrat because I hate Trump." And you still don't get it though. But it is what it is.
I'm surprised at how many people on Twitter are praising Biden for all kinds of stuff. And they're saying, "Are you going to vote for him?" And one of them, well, just recently when I was on, uh, somebody said, "Raise your hand if you're voting for Biden." There's a bunch of different ones. Oh, one of them said, "Should we just make a replica of the Oval Office in an old folks' home, stick Trump in there, and tell him he won?"
Well, I mean, don't they? I thought they had 4 different sets of White House right now for Biden.
I do believe that I were in the very beginning when they fenced up the White House, and things were just really weird in Washington. Yeah, I remember seeing, you could see the cracks. You could see, you could see the outside through the crack in the wall. I mean, it was a space between two panels where you could see outside. It's like, that's not the real Oval Office.
Yeah,
It
well,
can't be.
I saw a video where you know how reporters, not even the politicians, reporters, like from the news channels,
Yeah,
many times they give report like standing in front of the White House in different angles or whatever.
yeah,
I've seen a couple of videos where basically the landscape, the entire landscape, right? I mean,
yeah.
we're talking about big things like we're talking about like like old trees. If there's a 15-year-old tree, there's no way you can remove that and put it back or remove it, right? Right. So like
Right.
yeah, different landscape, same angle. So
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
great. I think we are going in that direction. You know what else we're gonna talk about? Trump, Trump had a white hat on. What the hell is all that like that all about? Like, I know some of us might already know that what that's about, but I want other people to be educated. So go ahead. Who
what
has
was it? What was the question? What does he have?
Trump had a white hat on after he won Iowa?
Oh, I didn't
A
see that
white
one.
hat. Huh. I don't
Anybody?
know.
What?
Was he? What? Yeah, I didn't pay attention, but was he trying to signal that? Maybe he's trying to signal that he I guess white hat military is cleaning the swamp, maybe even now, maybe something of that sort. I'm guessing. I didn't see that, so I don't know.
Yeah.
But
That's what
that's
it
something I can think of.
That's what it is. It's so there's also a crazy side of it where they say that white hats are the basically global protectors that nobody knows about. They are basically the ones those who fight against all the bad
Huh.
great people.
Yeah. I've heard of white hats before. I mean, I kind of heard about it a lot, but I never really looked into what they are. The
So from
white
what I
hats.
know, I can say that white hat military, right? Basically, obviously, even military, you have the corrupted people, which is we call it black hat, and then of
Okay.
course the ones who uphold the law and do the stuff the right way by
Okay.
the military law, and that's a white hat. So yeah, there is basically a war going on between them. Obviously, the white hat is trying to arrest people, basically
Okay.
put them in jails and mainly to get more stuff. But there are some operations where they went to overseas, and obviously they're not just fixing America; they're fixing this cabal basically everywhere in the world.
Fixing the planet.
Yeah, fixing the planet, right? So, but again,
Well,
a
so
lot of that,
it's
yeah,
black hats are bad guys and white hats are good guys.
correct.
That's just like in the old cowboy movies.
Correct, exactly. And then and the rest of the military who just take orders, they're not, they're neither. They're just basically soldiers, right? But yeah,
Ah,
there is a white hat command and there's a black hat command. And I've heard a lot of different, operations where sometimes some of the white hats did lose, or they were, like there was some helicopter that was blown up like a month ago. There was a white hat helicopter which, black hats were able to kill like four of them. But usually I'll hear more news about how white hats are, the raiding the places and things like that, and like for example, those four judges in the Colorado, obviously, who did that shenanigan last month right before Christmas, I think. And then they went straight on vacation. Like they declared their decision saying, oh, we're not going to put Trump on the ballot, and then they went straight to vacation. Like they didn't even go home, they went straight to vacation,
all right.
right? So they escaped the state. One of them was caught like 2 days after in Florida and the vacation spot by the white hats basically, and obviously they put him in Gitmo right away. And the second one was caught like 2 weeks after in another state, not even Colorado. So yeah, basically that's what the white hats do. Like they're basically, trying to clean up the swamp. Um,
Okay.
and they have been, and I think it's not. I don't want to say they're connected to the QAnon or the Q, but there's I don't know about the QAnon, but the Q itself is another. I don't want to say department, but it is a department or something of that sort within the military. It's a secret department within the military. They're not the white hat, but they work with the white hats, I think. So there's something. I think Q is like some kind of intelligence department. So I'm not sure when we were hearing the words QAnon, I'm not sure if that group was tied to the
Yeah.
Q, but the Q itself is a intelligence department within a military.
I did hear that before. I remember. I remember hearing that before.
But yeah, long story short, they are cleaning. In secrecy. Obviously, I mean, some of these things got to be cleaned in secrecy, right? Because
Right.
when you take up one terrorist, and of course, I'm going to call them terrorists because that's what they are, right? They're the enemy of
Yep.
the state. They
Yep.
are the insurrectionist, terrorist, treasonous, snakes in the swamp, and we're trying to catch one by one. But it's like when going back to the animal kingdom, which is where I always observe, and I think humans only observe from element kingdom whatever they do, right? So like if you hurt one bee, the nest, you hurt one bee and they're out of sight, but if that bee is alive and it goes back, you're screwed because it's gonna get the whole hive. I
Right.
mean that's how they work. So when you isolate and pick out a terrorist, right, you gotta do it in a way where they cannot be left alive or be able to communicate with their hive, because if they do, then everyone's going to be aware of like, oh, who's coming, who's not coming, type of thing.
Right.
It's a similar way where how Israel's kind of cleaning up those underground, under the schools and under the hospitals and
Oh,
all those hiding camps, right? Because you have to go and do a deep sweep. I mean, you have to do a deep sweep, turn every table around, break every wall, trying to find those tunnels. Because if you miss one, then you can get attacked from the back. All right, that's
right.
basically what whiteheads are doing. They're basically looking at everything, and then they take the criminals to tribunals. Like it's basically a military court, and I think in the
Right.
tribunals, it's like they have three judges, obviously military men, three judges, and the whole case gets played out, and that's why they get decided if they get hung or if they're just jailed for life. So I think a lot of the media personalities and a lot of the other non-politicians will be basically put in jail for a long time. But a lot of the if it's treason, then they get hanged basically, within a week or two or something like that. But if it's not treason, then they may get jailed depending on the crime.
Yeah.
I think that's what they're doing.
Interesting times. So, and then on top of that, Biden has the audacity. Like, again, this is not confirmed, so I do not know for sure, but we know what's happening in Texas, right?
Oh, the barbed wire, the fence cut.
Right. But Joe, you're aware of it too, right?
Yes. Yes.
All right. So again, not confirmed. Maybe I dreamed it. I don't know, but I thought Biden was saying that, hey, if Texas doesn't follow and get in line, I'm sending F-16s.
Oh,
And then
I
or
heard he
six,
was going to do something. I didn't hear it was F-16s, but yes, I did hear him saying they'd better not interfere.
and then 5 or 6 other states went like, Texas, you go ahead, we have your back. Joe Biden.
I like it.
Fuck Joe Biden. No, you know what's funny? What was it like a few years back? 2012. Yeah, 2021, I think. Remember when they started saying those things, like, from the NASCAR interview? They're saying, let's go, Brandon, or fuck Joe
Right.
Biden, right? And a
Yeah.
few weeks later, a few months later, I saw a clip where Joe Biden was telling the same thing. He's like, yeah, these guys are saying, fuck Joe Biden. Yeah, you're telling yourself, man.
Oh man.
So we have been predicting this for like almost every episode that we're gonna have a civil war, and now everybody is like, "What the hell? Are we having a civil war?" It's like,
Yeah.
are
We
there?
might. That's still on the table. There might be civil war. It's not as expected previously. So here's my take on that.
Mhm.
Like in the COVID times, right? The civil war would have looked something like black versus white because that's what they were inciting all the
Oh,
black people, right? The BLM
right.
riots, Antifa, whatever. But now that black people have woken up, Hispanics have woken up, right? Because Joe Biden fucked up so bad that people know, okay, like, who's right and who's wrong. Like, people have realized now that Trump has always been right, and it was the media who was painting the black picture, and Biden is so fucked up that he messed everybody up. But now the
No,
third war
hold on,
graphic changes
hold on.
to.
Stop blaming Biden, okay? I have to tell you this. Dude cannot even walk straight. You think he's in control? He didn't fuck up. He didn't do it.
No, not Biden, but the judge. You know what I mean, like the whole party, right?
But you know what I'm saying, right?
Yeah,
I
I, I,
sure do.
I know what you're saying because
He
he,
gets lost
he
on the
cannot
way
go
to
up the
the
stairs.
podium.
Yeah,
Huh?
he cannot go up stages. He cannot go upstairs. I mean, I know what you're saying.
Why you going after the grandpa? He cannot do nothing, bro.
But it's not. It's a grandpa and his 100 children.
Right.
Uh, he got
That is
lost
true.
going to the podium. He gets lost when he's leaving the podium.
Yeah. Well, he gets even lost talking to the podium.
Yeah, there you go.
But anyway. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
But,
Technically, you have to be correct. Okay, so whoever is running the
but
show, fucked up.
well, I think we all know Obama's running
Obama, yes, thank you.
the ship,
I
But
saw I
but
saw a picture, a photograph of Biden
Mhm.
standing. He was leaning a little hunched forward with his hands hanging straight down, and his head was down. And it said, "This is what happens when the people holding the strings let go."
that reminds me of a video. What was it like 20? Maybe it was 2020 or something like that. We know where there was some kind of function. I think it was a dinner, whatever state dinner or something. And I think the clip was basically, I think Fox News was showing it, where Obama was there, and it was Joe Biden. I think, yeah, actually, it was after Biden was in the office, so it must be 2021 or 2022, where Obama's like greeting everybody, and Biden's just running behind him, saying like, "Hey, listen to me, I want to talk to you. Hey, listen to me, I want to talk to you," and he was just ignoring his ass.
Jeez. Oh,
Yeah, that
God.
was funny because it was like Biden had no friends. He had no one was acknowledging him at all, and he was just running like,
Wow.
yeah, he had no attention. Like, everybody was just ignoring him. But that's what it sounds like, right?
Yeah.
No, but what I was saying about the civil war, they're
Right.
still on the table because what's gonna happen now is not gonna be black versus white, but it's gonna be this big mass of illegals that are coming in, right? All these
All
males
right.
from African countries, African Muslims, or even other males, right, from Middle East.
There's
But that,
Chinese. There's all kinds. They're coming in from. There's.
yeah, but what I heard, Joe, is
Yeah.
the dangerous ones, or the majority of where they're coming from, there are African Muslim men. So basically, you can see
Yep.
that. See, think of it this way: we know that not all Africans are bad, but the ones who are bad, right? They don't have
Yes.
intelligence. They're
Right.
basically like Animal Kingdom, right? They get tempered like that, and we see a lot of videos, right, where they don't obey the cops when they just pull them over, like that. Like, they get violent. There's a lot of Africans who are violent, and on top, we also know, on
Absolutely.
a separate topic, Muslims are violent, and they don't also abide by any rules and laws, and they're usually, we know that they've done a lot of terrorism in the last 30, 40 years in the world. You combine them both, black, African, or sorry, African Muslim males, so you get both of the bads combined into one now.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is, yes, if you get people from all over the world, I'm not worried about the other people because those other cultures are not that bad. But the most stubbornism usually comes in from certain religion, which is, we know for sure Muslim is one of them, and
Yeah.
certain demographic, right, where Africans are always a little more easily to get angry and fight. Because you look at any city, look at Baltimore, Chicago, New York, whatever, right? A lot of shooting that happens is usually teenagers or people in their 20s and 30s, and they happen to be usually mostly black, not all the time, but most of the time, right?
Right.
And that's because it.
They are oppressed.
Well, it's not. They say it's due to the education. I don't think it's the education
Yeah.
part. I think it's something that you just it's like a genes thing, right? It's a biological genes thing.
It's
Huh.
a trait in your genealogy. At the same time, you're triggered easily because of the situation and
Correct.
oppression you're facing. So
Exactly.
Yeah.
so it's not just because, like, oh, because we are African Americans or we are Africans or we are like, anything like that. It's just you are basically conditioned in a way
Conditioned.
in
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
They're
Exactly. Yeah.
brought
Yeah.
up
I'm not
to
saying everybody, right?
generation. Yeah,
Right.
generation after generation
Yeah.
of Muslims are brought up, and they are taught to, when they're little kids, they're taught to slaughter goats and to love death
Um,
Exactly. That's it. Yeah.
and
That's what I
blood,
was.
and it's, yeah, they grow up bloodthirsty. So
Yeah. It's like,
sad thing, but I think you'll be surprised at the Chinese as well. They're not as there's
Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure
there's
they're bad
something
too.
pretty wild there too.
Yeah, well, they're bringing the communism side of it. So
Yeah, yep,
you're
yep.
right. It's gonna be like a crazy on a different flavor. It's like
Yeah.
ice creams of different flavors. But you're right. It's a different flavored ice cream. Yeah.
And we're also not talking about a few hundred or a few 100,000. We're talking about millions of people. Millions. They've got an army on U.S. soil that
Yep.
is made up of millions of people that hate Americans, hate the West, and want
at,
to destroy it and have no scruples. They don't care
Yep.
about, life does not matter to them. They'll,
Yeah.
and
blow
I
us
would say.
apart, no problem.
to
I
the
would
extent
say.
America has been screwing up their country for freaking ever, for decades, been
Yep.
destroying. They want revenge, and we cannot just blame them because we have to understand it happened to them. No hate comes from out of nothing, like hate comes from you being hated first or
No,
hurt.
that's true. Okay, that's true. It happens to them, but there's another big factor here. Maybe it didn't happen to them because remember, one thing we're dealing with here is, and we all went through this, right? For 30 years, the media has been lying. So imagine
Oh
this:
yeah.
if something happens to you, and you know you may know the reason, but your village or your city does not know the reason, and the media just brainwashes them with a different reason. Now they're gonna believe this fake reason, and then if they try to harm those people, who were mentioning the fake reason, then that's a wrong way to go about because in reality it's something else. So
Uh-huh.
you
But
are right that it
And
could be, if something did happen and you know the history and you go and fight with those people, that's fine. But remember, media is lying, so maybe you might end up fighting somebody else that wasn't even in the picture.
yeah.
exactly. On top of that, the craziest thing is U.S. government and UN is bringing them over here. Like Biden is
Right.
fighting with their own freaking people. Hey, why you're not letting these people come in? So
Yep.
what? You know who who is doing this to them to be bringing them over here? Like it just blows my mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. It is the UN and WHO and all those. Yeah, exactly. But again, they're all part of the cabals, right? I mean, so
Yep.
now if you say Biden or you say Dems or them, it's all the same damn shit to me,
Yeah.
Now, somebody also said they are infected with a virus, which when they're gonna enable can turn them into zombies or something like that, which will make them more aggressive. Even not zombies, but it can make them aggressive.
Yep. I know exactly what you're talking about. They've been testing this stuff for decades now, where they control bugs. They control bugs and make them go where they want. They'll make them turn right, make them turn left, and yeah, they're wanting to do this with humans. I'm pretty darn sure they're already doing it with some, but uh, it's not out in public yet. But that's the plan.
But guess what got out in public now? UK just showed that they have direct energy weapons, which everybody has been
Oh
screaming
gosh.
real. Now they are real.
I remember when I first heard that, I thought, well, that's a bit far fetched, but yeah, then they showed it. It's like, okay, I can't hardly deny that now, can we?
Yeah, they actually had the thing is they actually had those long time ago.
I'd imagine. Yeah,
Because
I'd imagine.
I saw something where they mentioned that they had that technology back in, if I'm not wrong, 80s or 90s, and not that they ever
Uh-huh.
had to use it, but they could have been using it and we wouldn't know because remember they use it on. See, the only reason we know is because they did a genocide in Hawaii, right? I mean, that's what it is.
Yeah,
Exactly.
But if they use it on like one person, you're never gonna know because it's not gonna like if they only blow up one house somewhere,
right.
no
Yeah,
one's gonna even know. They're gonna be like, oh, it's a fire, right? It's only because they did it in Hawaii, and we're like, wait, the trees are standing. How come the trees didn't get burned and the cars were burning and houses were
and the
burning?
cars are melted, not just
Yeah,
burnt. They're
right.
melted.
Yeah, but because it happened on a big scale, they did it on a big scale. That's when we were saying, like, okay, well, it's not normal fire, right? But
Right,
imagine they do it to like maybe 10 houses or whatever next to each other. We wouldn't even guess that it's DEW. We would guess it's like, oh, just one house caught fire, and because of the wind, the next four in the row got fired, whatever, right?
right,
Like that's what we
right.
would believe.
It happened in Paradise Valley, if you guys forgot, but it happened the first time we heard about Jewish lasers
Huh.
was in Paradise Valley, California. They burned down a whole freaking village, but only
Oh,
few houses were not burned and a church was not burned. Everything
When was this? Do you know?
Paradise. I think it was 2 years ago. Two and when
Oh, okay. After
huh.
Biden, you mean?
yeah, when Jewish lasers. What's her name? Margaret Taylor Greene said
Uh-huh.
in the in the news that oh these are Jewish lasers. They are the ones testing it. So
Huh.
everybody
Interesting.
crazy,
Hmm.
you know. And
So,
now then
so these were Jews from Hollywood. I'm
I
just-
mean, really,
yeah,
that
yeah, it's pretty weird that they exist at all. But yeah, it appears that
Well, if you
yeah,
so to make it easy, Joe, right? Technically, well, now they have DEW, but technically, if you go even 2,000, 3,000, 5,000 years back, you have similar technology, and that was, and you're probably gonna be like, oh yeah, like I I know you know what it is, but I'll describe it, right? So right now we do lasers because obviously lasers are a precision pinpoint, beam of electrons, right? Basically, that's what it
right,
is. It's a light beam. But back in the days when they had ships and everything, right? Like the Greek wars, Roman wars. I mean, any empire you look at, it, right? In the sea, when they saw like ships coming, the way they would destroy those ships or catch them on fire was they would use a big mirror and use the sun ray, right, to beam it down.
yep, yep,
And it's the same. That and this is the same thing because in that case, what you're doing was you're taking the sun's heat and you would beam it down, and it would have the same impact. Like it would take a little longer, obviously, in the sun case, or maybe not. It depends on how narrow you make the beam. But if you make it so narrow, it's same as the
right,
DW.
oh
right.
man. And this immigration thing is also there's another a side to it where they might enroll them in the military to go fight China. Now, you will bring people from China and Africa to go fight China.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
Something is going. Oh, by the way, also yesterday, Putin said the sale of Antarctica is invalid, so he might be coming back for Antarctica too.
Oh,
so what do you mean? Like, what do you mean Antarctica too?
the Antarctica used to belong to the Russian Federation, and he just canceled that sale of contract yesterday. So I don't know what he's preparing there,
Oh,
but
okay.
what happened? Like you're not gonna cancel the sale of a huge continent. Is basically not continent, but you know what? It's a state of America.
the the
Yeah,
world's freezer.
yeah, exactly.
I mean, if Putin said I'm going to go to Antarctica and look for the enemies, then maybe the theory, where Nazis were never dead, right? They just relocated to Antarctica as a base, might be true then. If something's hiding in Antarctica like that, from World War II or whatever, because definitely we wouldn't know, right? If there's a base, we would not have any idea. But the
Well, now
government find, yeah,
if you're
good.
talking about that, then you have to talk about how Nazis might have fled to moon, and we might have base on the moon, and we might have a base on Jupiter as well. And these people are running Mars, Jupiter, and the moon. That's like a whole trip.
I mean, it, I wouldn't rule it out for sure. Like for example, what was that thing? Remember they were testing that the Glocka, right? What was it called? The Glocka, the Bell thing in Germany, right? They said that thing teleported or transported, and they couldn't find it where it went. So I mean, think of it this way: like when you first mess with technology, right? When you're doing something new, yeah, you don't know what it's gonna do. Like for example, if you're building a teleportation or something like that,
Right.
in the beginning, you just test it out. You don't know what's gonna happen, like how far it's gonna go, where it's gonna appear, all these things. So I call them glitches, right? Right, the glitches would happen, but then as you learn to control it, yeah, then you can probably, if that thing is real, if they actually made that technology from the past, they could pop out in Jupiter, pop out in Mars, wherever, right? I mean, as long as they do the right calculation, that's possible. And if they could survive those atmospheres out there with some technology, then yeah, you could have bases. I mean, Moon's reachable, but Mars and Jupiter, they would probably have to have some kind of technology. I mean, they cannot travel in ships. That's not feasible.
Here in
Huh.
Ecuador, hello,
I'm here.
hey, boy.
Yeah, what was that noise? It was like a TV.
Oh, that is my TV. I walked in the living room. I will
Oh,
walk away. Okay. All right. I'm out.
All
That's a
right.
motorcycle.
So,
Okay.
okay, in short, we have aliens showing up possibly in Miami. Nazis might not have died. They are already planning to take over the world, and now America is gonna get invaded by aliens and immigrants and immigrant aliens and possibly Nazis from outer space.
well,
Whoa! And then Trump is gonna be president. Well, they are already trying to ruin his presidency.
I,
How
and
are you gonna manage this mess?
I was gonna say it's not even been a whole month in 2024 yet. It's been 3 weeks.
Three weeks.
I warned you guys last year. I warned you guys. Get ready. This shit is about to hit the fan.
I do believe a lot of the lies are going to be exposed this year. A
Yeah.
lot of them. A lot of. I think the left is kind of going to fall, just because so many lies are going to be exposed.
Yeah, and I'm just surprised when they expose the lies. Right? It's gonna be like, oh, I didn't know that one. No one told me that. Why?
Oh,
We couldn't tell you. We had to make you. We had to make it believable, right?
Yeah,
oh, wow. Wow.
but but I was thinking, like, with all the crazy stuff going on, right? Like, so much happened in 3 weeks. So much happened in the last
Oh,
6 months. So much
wow.
happened in the last 3 years, right? Like, it's like a complete, like, a whole different
Wow.
level
We
of
will, we cannot
speediness.
hear you, Pavan. You're a complete robot.
Can you, let me start walking too. Okay, how's it now?
Keep
Still bad.
walking.
It's good now or no?
Nope.
Okay, this must be the X. They don't want me to talk. Okay, so when I talk, it's gonna come back later. I'm pretty sure.
Okay. So what else happened? Oh, okay. So there is this guy. His name is Bashar. Bashar is the name of this alien entity who contacted this guy in somewhere in California, and then they basically he tells the entire story of human race, how we came to be, what is everything, like why we are the way we are, what happened to us in the past. So if you guys have not heard of him, definitely seek him out.
Bashar,
Great.
BASHAR.
Yup. Listen to him. He really does. Like, let's say it's a farce. It's just, somebody goofing around and playing chess, which it doesn't seem like it, but let's say it is. Still, the information he is giving is amazing. And it's gonna open up your imagination in a lot of ways. It's gonna make you think harder about a lot of things, even if it's all a lie, he's giving you good stuff to think about.
Huh.
Yeah,
And if
because you gotta watch out for one thing. Nowadays, there's a lot of videos out there where people are just making up. I mean, most of them are stupid. And I'm not sure about this guy, but most of them are stupid because they're like, oh, this human came from year 2036 and we interviewed him, or this person came from 2145 and we interviewed him. Like, so like, there's a lot of those videos where people just make like, they're like, I came from the future and I'm gonna tell you like how things are. Like, so I've seen a lot of those things where it's like, dude, you sound like you just came from your backyard.
don't know
Okay,
what.
you know those movies where the alien has some kind of form of thing that allows them to change their shape, but then like the battery goes dead and then you see the real them. I
Yeah.
think we just heard the real Bobbin.
Oh, yeah, guys, I came from 3,000 Futurama. I know better.
Uh, Frankly, we don't know much about Bhavin. I don't know, even if, I never met his parents or his family. We just and we only talk to him over the phone.
That's right.
Yeah,
I've actually met him, but he was in his shape shifting
Yes.
form at the time.
Hey, he seems to know a lot about everything we talk about.
That's right.
And we always have good information.
yeah, now you guys believe me, right? I came from 3,000.
Oh my
Oh
God.
my gosh. All right.
Hey, at least I'm real. I'm not like Joe Biden.
Right. So, yeah, I'm not real into the alien thing. I think uh, it's interesting and whatnot. And I used to a long time ago. I used to look at the skies and look for UFOs and whatnot. But yeah, I'm even if it's real, I'm I'm just not studying it.
No.
I'll find out soon enough.
You know what?
But
Well,
When Joe was saying that, I had an idea.
yeah,
mm-hmm.
Just when Joe just said all that stuff, I just got an idea. I was like, because he said he's not into aliens, right? And
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking, like, do you guys like, okay, you guys know a lot of people with black hair, then you guys know a lot of people with white hair, right? And you guys know a lot of redheads and all these things, but does anybody ever have orange hair except Trump?
Yeah.
Is he an alien?
I love it. There you go.
Mm.
We don't need white hats. We need men in black.
Well, it might be real. That's what happened in what do you call it? Florida, right? Those are the ones. Everybody's homes are wiped away. And people seem to have trouble remembering.
Yeah, we just need those aliens, right? The 10 12 foot aliens to clean up the swamp. Yeah.
That's right. So, what else is going on?
Okay, so what else? Oh yeah, Biden. Again, I think I only saw one place, but it seemed real. Biden said he just shot down 3 UFOs last
Oh,
night, and we are actively recording them, and, and we're going to be studying them. So there goes another possibility of them staging alien invasion, justify martial law.
huh.
Yeah,
That's interesting.
either that or maybe they're just saying like, oh, we're gonna now reveal a secret from 1960s or 70s or whatever. Saying,
Right.
oh, we just saw this yesterday.
Yeah.
Like they're gonna say like they're not gonna come and say like, oh, we did this shit for 50, 70 years. They'll always say like, oh no, like for example, the moon landing. I know I believe it was faked, right? But recently they tried to now send the rover. If you look at the headlines, some places, the headlines literally said, "We're sending the first ever," and he said, "First ever. We're sending the first ever mission to the moon." It didn't say we're sending the first ever mission in 50 years or whatever. It said we're sending the first ever mission to the moon.
Huh.
So I saw some headlines like that. I'm like, oh, this confirms that yeah, the 1960 was a bullshit. Basically.
Huh. That's weird.
But of course, we couldn't make it. And if you now look at it, right, Japan just soft landed, and that was like this week, I think. So I think all nations are now basically trying to send stuff to the moon. So this kind of obviously gives us that clue that, and again, those questions we used to ask, right? Hey, if we went on the moon in 1969, how come we never went back, right?
So,
Well, the
correction, Japan just fake landed on.
the thing about we haven't been back. I was there when it happened. The we were sending people to the moon. We were doing. Let's see, what was it between July 1969 and whenever they ended it in 72. We sent. Um, there were 6 successful landings, manned landings, and which means 2 people each time. That's 12 people that walked on the moon. And then what happened was all the time they were going up there collecting rocks and coming back, the left kept complaining that they were spending all this money on the moon and we still had poor people. What they don't realize is we're going to have poor people forever, because when the politicians get the money, they don't help the poor, they help themselves. And they'll always have money for the things they want to do. They just don't have money for things they don't want to do. And one of the things they don't want to do is help you. So they're not, the keeping or getting rid of the space program didn't matter either way. But because they complained so much, it became mundane to go to the moon. People, the first one, people around the world watched in awe of these people going to the moon, and then within a couple moon landings, they were bored of it. They weren't watching it on TV anymore. They live broadcast it, and nobody watched, so they stopped broadcasting it. And
Why
so the
do
left kept complaining about the money, and so they shut it down. The SST was another thing that the left shut down, and then the shuttle Obama shut down. So I always say progressives don't like progress. They will go against it as much as possible.
but
Well, I mean,
if
I understand the shuttle part because that was basically they're saying it's been in use for whatever 40, 50 years. But Joe, maybe what if this all was a lie, and maybe what actually happened was the studio that they were recording in only had a 3-year lease, and then they ran out.
That's another idea.
Because
Yeah,
no, because
it's
what I read,
possible. I will say it's possible that it was
yeah,
faked, but I actually believe they went.
But
guys,
what happened to all the videos then? Why we can't find them if we went to moon so many times? Why there's only like a very few?
Oh,
That
there's a lot of video. I've seen a lot of video.
the-
yeah, but I think I recently saw a documentary somewhere. Again, you could call it a conspiracy theory or whatnot, but they were showing some government documents where they were saying that yes, the moon landing was a fake, and basically what they were saying was there was a set, like a movie set they made, right? where
Yeah.
they were just
Yeah.
recording these things, and that's what I heard, and that was in Nevada. I think the set was made in Nevada or the desert, basically, because it looks like a
I
desert.
always say they had Kubrick, Stanley
Right.
Kubrick directed it, and he was such a stickler, he made them do it on location.
Yeah, no, and the reason I'm saying this is because the only thing that I found credibility that I could actually believe in was they, like this scientist about this astronaut that you speak of, right? Like talking about whatever went. So two or three of them were interviewed in that documentary, and they're saying that they couldn't talk for all this time because they fear for their life. But now they're saying because I'm like one of them actually died, and he made a video saying, "Hey, I'm putting this video out because remember when I'm dead, they can't do shit to me." So he basically made a video like just
Huh.
6 months before he died, but the video was released by his son 1 year after it was made. So basically, like this guy makes a video in 2020 or something, and then 6 months
Huh.
later he's dead, and then his son releases a video 6 months after that. But
Yeah.
that's so those actually give some credibility because I'm like saying, of course, these guys were afraid to not speak against because we
Yeah.
all know what happens, right? When you speak against the government, they make your life shit, and we know there's so many people who, like all the J6, all the CIA, FBI, the agents who basically went against them, they're suffering, right? They don't get paid nothing.
Yeah.
So I think some of these astronauts actually were giving interviews and they're saying, hey, I'm close to my deathbed. What the guys are they gonna do now? I'm gonna now tell you
Yeah.
guys the truth.
Well, I was wrong about Kennedy for 50 years because I never looked into it. I heard the conspiracy theories about Kennedy and I just never paid any attention. I just thought, well, they're conspiracy theorists, whatever. I'm not going to pay attention. But on the 50th anniversary, I decided to look into it, and I watched video, and they had the Zapruder film with audio on YouTube. And when you put audio to it, and this is police, the police radio audio, and it's amazing. I mean, once you see that, that Oswald was a patsy.
So
He didn't do it. So I could be wrong. I could be wrong.
so
But
for our
so far,
understanding,
I believe. What's that?
so for our understanding, can you tell us what you believed in and then what? Because we don't know what the context is, but can you say what you believed in for 50 years that was wrong now, or like what you heard in the audio?
About Kennedy?
Yeah.
Okay, well, the official story was that Oswald shot Kennedy, and I believed that. What I didn't believe was that there was this group of people, and some guy on the grassy knoll actually shot him and whatnot. But once I watched the video, you can see a lot of things happening. There were two uh, Secret Service agents on the back of the vehicle. And when they came to that last corner, the car slowed down and they stepped off and backed off. So
Mhm.
suddenly they weren't there. They weren't there. So the car comes around the corner and the vehicle goes slow again, and it actually stopped. You can see the brake lights come on, and you can see them actually stop. And then there are the different shots. You see the different shots, and one that comes from the front. Now, Oswald is way behind in the book depository, and this shot comes from the front, hits him in the forehead, and rips off part of his head, and that was the kill shot. And there's no way that shot came from the depository and made a U-turn. That doesn't happen. Talk about a magic bullet. So there's just too many things. Plus, you hear the gunshots. You hear several gunshots, and they're from different directions and different distances. And there's just a bunch of stuff. If you look up that film, the Zapruder film with audio, it's mind blowing. It's like, wow, they really did. And I remember Robert Kennedy went to Johnson and said, "Why did you kill my brother?" Um, there's a whole lot of stuff like that. It's um,
So it begs the question, all right.
Say it
Again,
again.
if that is to be true, then it begs the question: CIA killed Kennedy, right?
Yeah. Yep.
CIA spread COVID virus. CIA
Right.
after Trump so that he doesn't win. And supposedly, I think in their mind, the people, those who work for these clandestine organizations, they are behind freaking Jeffrey Epstein Island, and there are a bunch of others. They are caught smuggling drugs to America. They're simply doing this for America. Is what their motive is to destroy the country so that they can protect it? Like, what's their objective? They have caused so many wars throughout the didn't
I,
help nobody, not even their own
yeah.
country. So, what kind of lunatics are running these organizations, and what
Well,
are their objectives or motives?
I'll tell you the end goal. These people want to rule the world. They don't care what it takes for them to do it. And now here's the thing: you don't have to believe me. You can listen to them. Look up Klaus Schwab,
Right,
and
we know that. But again, Schwab is an external force. Okay, he might be super rich, but he might have some sugar daddy who is helping him. The CIA and any clandestine organization like that, these people might be influenced by them. Maybe they have some pawns working in these organizations, but the whole organization cannot be bought like that. Now, these
Well,
yeah.
people,
Well,
it
I
is.
believe I believe there are a lot of good people in the FBI,
yeah,
but I believe the FBI at the moment is a horrible organization.
I
same as
think.
It's an anti-American organization.
Well,
We
so
need to clean out the top, and we need to find out who has been helping the people at the top.
but
yeah.
no,
So
my
I think what
question is
happens. The answer to
no,
your question,
it-
Koki, is like
no,
CIA,
no,
FBI.
no, I haven't finished the question because it's
Okay,
much
go ahead.
deeper
Okay.
than. So this is what we understand. That's we already know this much, right? What I want to understand is how these people, these assholes, sleep at night, believing that they are protecting and serving and helping people, even their own families.
Yeah.
Like, what kind of a fucking psychopath you have to be?
Yeah. So the answer to that entire question is,
And
think of
then,
it like this: CIA, FBI, right? The people on the lower level, they're just normal people. They're just taking orders only for a paycheck, right? Or some bonus on top. But the people at the top, yeah, that's the one you're talking about. Like, how do they sleep, right? Well, they are the real, they are the problem. They are the bad people. So CIA and FBI is nothing different than a cartel, right? Basically, it's a
Right.
cartel.
these people are very brilliant, intelligent people. You do not make into these organizations if you're not exceptional.
I
There
Well,
get
might
it,
they
be few,
but
those.
they
greed,
test these people. They test them for how if they will obey orders. They test them for lots of things um, to test their personality to see if they're the right ones that
So
they can control.
they
correct.
become psychopaths, right? But these psychopaths
I would say the word would be they are not conscious.
They have no conscience.
Right.
That's my way of putting it. No
Yeah.
conscience.
No conscious, because intelligence doesn't mean you're on the right side, right? People
Right.
with intelligence without conscience are the ones going to end up doing the bad things, because all they have is greed, jealousy, and all the other bad traits, and that's what they're falling on. And all they're doing it for is just little more money here, money there, power here, power there. Like DNC, look at DNC. They're not doing this for the money, right? It's not the money. They got a bunch of money. They got a bunch of people giving them money, but they're doing this because they like the perks of the power of the control, because that control gives them the rush. Like, it's a adrenaline that gives you saying, "Hey, I'm in control." Like, look at, okay, go to any corporate, right? Any corporation, and look at any manager, their manager, their manager. These people are feeding on the power that they think that they're the power, and when the lower levels defy them, they don't like it, because the lower levels are now saying, "Hey, look, we only believed you because we need the paycheck, but when we don't need the paycheck, we're gonna tell you you're an asshole and you're like the low life. And that's how when people quit, right? When people quit, that's what they tell their bosses, saying you are like the dumbest shit I ever seen, because they don't need to suck up
Right.
to them anymore.
Now this awakening needs to happen in their department too.
Correct.
I believe there are good people in these departments and they have been silenced and
Yeah.
suppressed because they
Exactly.
are made to believe that they don't have the power. It is
Um,
time for them to realize that they do have the power and they
right.
can take these trolls and crooks and they can stand up against them. They just have to unite.
I believe there's one more group, and that is a group of good people who have been brainwashed, and they believe what they're doing is good. It's for the
Right,
greater good, right? It's always
right.
for the greater good. And I think a lot of those are going to be waking up
Yeah.
soon.
Look, they have to wake up already. They have been given enough time. If they don't wake up now, it's gonna cause such a big ripple effect that it might be the end of this country. And I'm really saying it seriously. If these
Well,
people
yeah.
do not wake up on time, this country will not survive.
Well, that's the flow of the nature, right? Not everyone's gonna wake up. So what happens is when majority wake up, they're good to go. Basically, the balance shifts, and the people who didn't wake up by then, they have to be erased or basically, be solved off. And that's how obviously we talk about it in the human terms, but that's exactly how bacterias work too, right? Basically, for example, and I'll give example, but without being so bad, right? We'll talk about bacterias. What happens is when you get sick in your body, right? Your entire body then feels weaker, and that bacteria spreads everywhere. Now every one of your cell feels weaker. So that's kind of like, then when you take a medicine or basically just let the time do the thing, as you recover, right, they're all waking up because the white blood cells are fighting the bacteria, whatever. And then area by area you start feeling better. And what happens is you never wipe out all the bad bacteria. There's always 1 or 2% that remains in your body, which later on in your life they mutate, and then you get sicker. The next time you get sick is the same, those same bacteria that survived. They cause more problems later on. So yeah, it's the same thing works in the human history, where the balance from good side to bad side happens like that because we went through bad time. That's why they say. Remember, I think Joe said it a few episodes ago, saying that in bad times,
Yeah,
it makes good men, and then later on, good times make bad men, right? That's what it is. Basically,
Yep.
bad bacteria makes healthy bodies because you have to fight them off. And then when your body's so healthy, you don't take care of it. Bad bacteria is gonna sneak in, and you're sick again. It's the same damn thing. So yeah,
yeah,
we went through that waking up cycle, which was 21, 22, 23. People who have woken up by now, they're good. But there are going to be certain small amount of people who are never going to wake up. Like Joe said, they're so brainwashed that they're not even listening. But those will end up either getting eliminated completely because of their stupidity, or else basically that's how it goes,
Yeah.
yeah.
I usually put it as there's a cancer, and cancers, you don't compromise with them, you eradicate them.
Exactly.
So yeah, there's some cancer that needs to be eradicated. There are some viruses that need to be um,
Right.
suppressed,
So
uh, and we
what
need to
Joe
treat each as it is.
Yeah, so what Joe is saying is after you go through chemotherapy, whichever cells didn't come back to normal, they get to get eradicated.
Don't even get me started on chemotherapy and cancer treatment. That will. I think we should wrap it up now. So
Okay.
I understand what you guys are saying, but I do not agree because it's all false. So to begin with, but we will talk about it some other time. Let's start with our closing remarks. Joe, you go ahead, please.
All right. Well, it's a crazy world we live in. But I do see a light at the end of the tunnel. I do believe Trump will be back in office, that he will fix everything again, and we're going to have a time of peace and prosperity like we've never seen. We just have to wait another year for it. We got to wait. We got to wade through 2024, and but it's going to be a very eye-opening year. We're going to see a lot of the the lies exposed and the truth is gonna, there's gonna be a lot of people who change their minds because they're gonna see the truth. There's gonna be no denying it. Even the news is gonna be, telling us the truth after all these decades. And I do think we have a lot of hope. We have a lot to look forward to. So even though it's crazy and nuts and there's a lot of weird stuff going on, I do believe we have a whole lot of reason to hope. And I hope I hope that many of the people listening, I don't even know if there's more than three listening, but whoever's listening, I hope this gives you hope.
All right, all right. And yeah, it does. It does. Bhavin.
Yeah, so closing remarks for today. I'm not gonna say much, but I would say 2024 just started. We've seen a lot of things happening in 3 weeks. Another 49 minus the 7 weeks, so something like 43 more weeks to go before election. A lot of stuff's gonna happen. Just I guess if you haven't woken up, wake up quickly. Um, and if you have woken up, then I would say just enjoy the show until you go vote. So until then, you just try to take the best care of you and people around you because a lot of crazy stuff might happen. So just be in the aware and try not to get in any trouble. But yeah, watch the show.
Nice. All right. In God's name we live, in God's name we serve, and in God's name we shall perish and die. I've been saying this pretty much every episode, but it seems more true today than it has ever been. We are at a very exciting, although very painful, but still exciting phase of life of Earth that we know about, at least. It's a turning point in every single way. Imagine it. So, I will say, imagine a future where you don't hate your neighbor, you don't hate people around you, you don't hate people because of their color, their religion, any reason, you know, or just because you don't like their purse or you want that purse, you know.
Yep.
People have different reasons. I'm saying that imagine that's a possibility that energy is free. Imagine people are not dying because of hunger. Imagine that we are not fighting frivolous wars just to keep people rich and keep the system running. We have to imagine that future, that possibility, because it is possible. The reason it is not happening because we do not want to imagine. We don't want to accept that it's a possibility, but it is. And that time is coming. And it will only happen after a very painful transition. The reason for that painful transition is very clearly said or stated by both Bhavin and Joe. We have to kill the cancer. The cancer that has been keeping us weak, that has been keeping us focused on fighting with each other instead of uniting and solving these problems and making this planet a happy place. The cancer could be alien in nature. It could be demonic in nature. It could be just human fucking nature. You know why there is a concept of evil? It was not because God made us evil, or was it? I believe it's our very own nature that gives the power to the concept of evil. Because if we are not kept in check, we will start raping and murdering kids. We are fucking crazy. And this transition needs to happen. We have to kill those elements of cancer in our society so that we can get away from these evil tendencies and learn to heal as a nation, as a global community, and focus on being multiplanetary or something better. AI is going to change our life in next 5 years the way you have not imagined, and we will have time to do all this. People are rising up in Germany, France, Sweden, across the Europe, basically, but America is still sleeping. We are still asleep on the freaking steering wheel because America is the country that basically steers the world. And if we don't wake up, soon it will be Russia or China or even India. And frankly, I do not like those countries. I want to be in America. I love America. It's a great country. It has the basic building blocks of making a great society. So, people, please wake up and get ready. This year is going to be crazy. And with that, I'm your host, Kalki Kara. Thanks for joining us. I hope you're excited. Of course, very much am to see what America does on the next episode of Let's Make America Great Again. Thank you, President Trump. Cannot wait for you to be back in office. And if you hate me for saying that, go fuck yourself and let us fucking pay. Thank you.